Welcome back. Today we're looking at a guide called Vocabulary Detox. It's designed to help professionals sound fluent right away by swapping out basic words like very or I think for more powerful alternatives.
Yeah, things like stellar and atrocious. It's high energy, direct, so let's just jump right in.
Okay, so the core idea here is fantastic. It sets up this really dramatic, boring versus brilliant dynamic from the get-go. But for our first point, we feel it needs to do more to maximize the emotional stakes of that contrast.
I completely agree. The material does a great job of validating the listener, saying, you're smart, you're professional, but your words are holding you back. That's a great hook.
It is.
But then the examples don't always live up to that high-stakes promise.
That's the weakness right there. The intro says this is about how you sound when you walk into a big meeting, right? But then to show the problem with the very virus, the example is about a very good burger.
Or very bad traffic. And it immediately lowers the stakes. It deflates the whole premise.
Exactly. If the goal is professional authority, then using these really casual, low-stakes examples just weakens the whole argument. It makes these powerful words, exquisite, atrocious, feel like, optional seasoning.
Right, like a fun thing to do, not a necessity for your career. The listener starts thinking, okay, I'll save stellar for the boardroom, but very good is totally fine for lunch.
Which is the opposite of the detox idea. So our suggestion is to be ruthless here. Focus every single demonstration of this very virus exclusively on a professional context. You have to frame this as an absolute necessity for command, not just a stylistic choice.
Okay, that definitely sharpens the focus. But let's talk about the trade-off. If we strip out all the casual examples, is there a risk that we make the speaker sound a little unnatural or maybe overly dramatic in a normal conversation?
That's a fair point.
You don't want someone telling their partner that dinner was, atrocious.
Right, and I think the material can address that by focusing on situational awareness. The whole point isn't to sound like a walking thesaurus, it's to sound authoritative when it counts. So by focusing the examples on those high-stakes moments, we're teaching the listener where these words have the most impact.
So it's about context.
It's all about context. So for a concrete example, when you're critiquing very good, forget the burger. Reframe it around performance. Show the massive authority gap between, say, I think this is a very good approach, which is so tentative.
So weak.
And something like, that was a stellar performance by the sales team. See how that second one immediately positions the speaker as an evaluator? Someone whose opinion actually matters? And for very bad, you could do the same thing with atrocious. Forget traffic. Let's use it for professional reporting to add that drama the material wants. Instead of saying, the market response was very bad.
Which is vague.
So vague. You say, the initial market penetration figures are atrocious. That shows immediate command. It signals you understand the gravity of the data. Exactly. And doing that ties the emotional stakes of this whole detox directly to the listener's professional identity. It's a tool, not a toy.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, moving on to our second critique. So once you have these powerful new words, you've got to make sure they actually stick. And the way the material presents them risks undercutting their impact. So we need to talk about structuring these vocabulary swaps with the power of the micropause.
Oh, I saw this immediately. In the section on replacing a word like nice, it just gives you this rapid fire list. It's like nice, thoughtful, considerate, charismatic, charming.
Right.
And it's so dense that all those great words just sort of blur together. They become this interchangeable list of synonyms.
That's the weakness. It's just too much, too fast. The listener doesn't have a chance to really internalize the specific weight of each word. You lose the chance for that new word to feel like a real moment of transformation.
Yeah. You need a second to register how weak the old word is before you get the powerful replacement. That little bit of cognitive friction is, I think, key for making it memorable.
So our suggestion here is both structural and rhythmic. When you're showing the shift from the boring sentence to the brilliant sentence, you need to build in a deliberate, noticeable, a micro pause right before you deliver that upgraded word.
A micropause.
Yeah, it creates a little bit of rhetorical suspense. It gives your brain a split second to go, okay, very bad is out, before the superior word, atrocious, comes in.
I love that. But Here's the potential issue. If someone is trying to sound more confident and fluent, isn't there a danger that a deliberate pause makes them sound hesitant?
That's the key question. They're already fighting the urge to say, or I think. We don't want to replace that with a big silence that just sounds like they're searching for a word.
You're right. And that's why the instruction has to be crystal clear, that this is a commanding pause, not a hesitation. It's a rhetorical choice.
It's like putting a verbal spotlight on the word to follow.
So it's about intention.
All about intention. The material should literally say, pause, take a quick breath, and then deliver that powerful word with conviction. The pause is there to sell just how inadequate the old word was.
Okay, so you could build that right into the exercises.
You absolutely could. Look at the simulation round, challenge 2. I think this plan is very bad. The advice should be, take a moment, register the weakness of very bad. Now a better version, pause. From my perspective, this plan is atrocious.
That little silence just makes the transformation feel so much more dramatic.
And you could do the same for the ban on nice. The material has that great line, if you describe a person as nice, you are basically saying they have no personality. That's a powerful statement.
It is.
It should be followed by that pause. So it becomes, you are saying they have no personality. Pause. Say they were thoughtful or considerate. That pause lets the critique really land before you give them the solution. It helps psychologically delete the old habit. Yes, it turns it from just a list of words into a memorable, rhythmic experience. It gives those high-impact words the space they need to land and actually stick.
I like that a lot.
Okay, for our final point, let's look at the section on eliminating shield words like I think. This part has so much potential for building authority, but it's missing a framework. So our focus is on guiding the listener on context and what we're calling hyper-enunciation for these command words.
And to be fair, the material gives 3 excellent substitutes for I think. You have I am convinced, from my perspective, and it seems clear that. And these aren't just filler, they actually change the speaker's whole rhetorical stance. That's a big deal.
It is a huge step up, but the weakness is that it gives you these 3 really potent tools, but with no user manual. There's no framework for when to use each one.
Right, and that could lead to problems that you could have someone using the most aggressive one, I am convinced, in a meeting that calls for nuance, and they just come off as a bulldozer.
Exactly. They sacrifice professional subtlety just for the sake of sounding dominant. And beyond that, if they switch from I think to I am convinced, but they sort of mumble it or throw the line away,
Then it doesn't work.
it completely undermines the point. You've just replaced a weak phrase with a weakly delivered one.
So you haven't actually gained any authority.
None. So our suggestion is twofold. First, provide clear guidelines for the right rhetorical situation for each of those 3 phrases. And second, and this is crucial, encourage the speaker to practice hyper-enunciation on the core word that signals their confidence. The delivery has to match the commitment of the words.
So you're moving from just word choice into like vocal performance.
Yes, teaching them how to really drive the point home. Let's start with I am convinced. This is your highest level of commitment. The guidance should be to use this phrase and hyper-enunciate the word convinced, only when you have compelling data or deep expertise to back it up.
Okay, but if I'm really hitting that word hard, I am convinced. How do I avoid sounding, aggressive or even combative, especially if I'm talking to a senior person?
That's where the context is key. I am convinced is an assertion of your internal certainty. It's not an attack on someone else. If you have the data, the assertion is justified. If you don't have the data, you shouldn't be using this phrase in the first place. The guidance has to be, use this only when your confidence is unshakable, and let the emphasis on convinced signal that for you, the debate is over.
Perfect. This is for more strategic arguments, where you need to acknowledge that other views might exist. And here, the speaker needs to practice hyper-enunciating the word perspective.
That emphasis on perspective is so important. It signals that you're owning your viewpoint, but you're also framing it as just one way of looking at the problem. It's authoritative, but it still opens the door for conversation.
It's not a hard stop, like, I am convinced. So we'd advise using it for things like strategy, future planning, anywhere there's ambiguity. It's confident without being rigid.
Right. And the last one. It seems clear that.
Here, the material says it removes you from the equation, focusing on a shared reality. So we'd suggest hyper-enunciating the word clear.
So you would instruct the listener to use this one only for, say, observable facts, or things everyone in the room has already agreed on. By hitting the word clear, you're grounding your statement in that shared reality. You're saying, based on what we all can see, this conclusion is basically undeniable.
Exactly. Adding this detailed context plus the practice of hyper-enunciation elevates this section from simple word swapping to really a high-level rhetorical strategy.
It gives the speaker the nuanced command they actually need.
So just to quickly recap the actionable steps for this vocabulary detox. First, you need to strengthen that core boring versus brilliant contrast. Make every single example a high-stakes professional one to really drive home the necessity.
Second, improve memorability by building in that rhythmic micropause. Use that silence to sell the weakness of the old word right before you deliver the powerful new one.
And third, for the shield words, maximize their authority by adding specific contextual guidance, and pair that with practicing hyper-enunciation. You need to really emphasize convinced, perspective, or clear, so your voice matches your newfound commitment.
Yeah, these changes, structural, rhythmic, and delivery focused, they're going to seriously boost the impact and the authority of the speaker. It really gets to the heart of the material's goal, sounding fluent and commanding the room.
We really encourage you to try implementing these changes. Once you focus those examples and played with that micropause, please feel free to send the next version back to us. We'd love to take another look.
Absolutely. Keep challenging yourself. And remember, fluency isn't just about the words you pick. It's about the authority you use to deliver them.
Until next time.